They averaged 3.8 yards a play. They could not move the ball. They could not score a touchdown. And Micah Parsons only played 45% of the snaps. So the Lions' offense against the Packers was abysmal. It's the first time it's been bad in 3 years. It's the first time they haven't had Ben Johnson. Also, Ben Johnson was able on script to create the Bears scoring a touchdown on the first drive. They didn't do that all of last season. Also, Ben Johnson got Tyson Bagent in the preseason to have a 107 passer rating. Lions, Tyson Bagent, first drive. If there's a struggle here, it's not Ben Johnson. Here's one of the things that would really concern me. I went and looked this morning. Caleb Williams last year and Caleb Williams against the Minnesota Vikings. And again, he's got moments. He's got that throw to Rome Odunze last season and this season. Last season and yesterday. He's the same cornerback. Is even Ben Johnson met his match? His numbers last night are his numbers last year. There was one throw in particular that really would trouble me. It was fourth quarter, 2:32 left. Now, they scored eventually on this drive, but it wasted 30 seconds. He misses a layup, and I mean he misses it by 8 yards. And that's what worries me. There were open receivers. This had a Justin Fields feel to it, where you're like, dude, there's people there. They're open. You're not seeing it. And when you do, you're about 55% on getting it there. So there is an analytic, that is called expected completion percentage. So the passes, after everybody watches film, that you should complete. I don't buy into all the analytics, but it's an interesting one. Caleb, after last night, dead last, minus 13%. So he should have completed at least 13% more of his passes. So Ben Johnson is scheming Jared Goff open. Yeah, Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Should they really lead the number one offense in the NFL? Shouldn't it be like Josh Allen all the time? Or Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry? I mean, I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, a fourth-round pick, and I like Jared Goff. They shouldn't be the NFL's number one offense. They were. Tyson Bagent. You ever think Tyson Bagent was going to look that good like he did in preseason? So my takeaway is we've got an elite coach. But for that number to come out, tied for the lowest expected completion percentage, that's not good. That's an analytic that people inside the league look at. Caleb Williams trying to spin it positively.
There was a lot of good there. Our communication, I think he was getting the plays in, fast, and been able to get out the huddle. We need to be better with that, and been able to get up to the line, make checks, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's a growing process that it's going to keep growing from here. This is the start, but definitely not the end.
Now, in fairness, J.J. McCarthy looked bad for 3 quarters. Bo Nix didn't look good with Sean Payton. Caleb didn't look bad in the first half. So there were moments for other young quarterbacks where you're kind of, that didn't look great. Now, not everybody's going to be Jaden Daniels. Drake May did not have a good Sunday. I like Drake May.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. What Caleb Williams said was really correct, that it's starting today right now, right? Like this is just the beginning. And so you do just have to let this bake. Ben Johnson's offense is definitely brilliant at designing guys open and in space to get on with it, okay? And if your quarterback does reliably miss those throws, then that becomes a fundamental problem, because it doesn't matter that you can scramble and make a beautiful throw. It just matters that you just hit the open guys. And that's where even having a quarterback who clearly has less of a skill set than a Caleb Williams can look better in a Ben Johnson's offense, right? It's where like a Kirk Cousins who can't do half the things that Caleb Williams can do, a Kirk Cousins will just still be able to hit the open man. And even rather than Caleb taking that 5-yard completion, Kirk Cousins takes the receiver for the 20-yard completion. I mean, when you look at it, that first half alone, even under the scripted plays, they left points on the board. They should have already they should have scored 2 touchdowns just from the jump. But instead they didn't. And then as I criticized Ben Johnson for not kicking that field goal, the play was there. And Caleb just straight up missed it, which then also could have easily led to a touchdown. So that does then become the problem, and that is something that a Ben Johnson will absolutely drive Ben Johnson crazy. If you want to know how crazy, look at Sean Payton and Russell Wilson on the sidelines, because that's what they were arguing about. What are you doing? I'm scheming these guys open, and you're not hitting them. What are you doing? And that's why a lot of these quarterbacks, these coaches, they don't need someone who is so physically gifted. They just need someone to run their offense. That's why Shanahan is like, I want Brock Purdy. That's why Shanahan was able to win with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's why Kevin O'Connell was like, yeah, man, I can win a lot of games with Kirk Cousins. Give me Sam Darnold. I can win a lot of games with Sam Darnold. Give me a J.J. McCarthy. Give me someone who I feel comfortable can run and execute the offense. What actually makes Patrick Mahomes one of the most special quarterbacks of all time is not really his off-the-script stuff. It's actually his ability to flawlessly run Andy Reid's offense. For some weird reason, Mahomes fans think that that's a knock on him, and it's not. It's actually the massive compliment. Tom Brady was able to flawlessly execute the offense. Right? That's how it works. When you can execute the offense, when you can run the coach's vision, like really all of the other stuff is just kind of like extra. It's just kind of extra. And so that is what a Ben Johnson is going to want. That is what a Ben Johnson is going to want. And as the years pass within the NFL and the offensive coaching gets better and better and better, it's really what every coach is going to want. I think once upon a time, especially in a more defensive culture, there was a lot more openness to some of these things. But now the better these coaches get and the better they get at really defining the routes and defining where to go with the ball and really able to get a lot of yards after catch, etc., etc. When a quarterback fails to do that, it's just no longer enough, especially if on the other side of the field, the other quarterback is doing that. And so the Bears should have won this game, not only because of some of the decision making, but just if you just hit some of the throws. Now, again, it was week 1, and I've already made my video where I went and defended Caleb pretty much the entire video. So that's why I'm focusing on the other side of this conversation right now, because it was only week 1. But in terms of, because the question is Ben right? Is Ben the right coach for Caleb Williams? I don't know that he is. But first off, Ben Johnson is staying and Caleb Williams wouldn't. That's number 1. And number 2, in the modern NFL, it's not clear to me that then any coach, because there's once upon a time, it just would have been seen as it's okay for you to, okay, you hit that one guy for 5 yards, even though we had another guy open for 15 yards, right? Like, that would have been okay if you can scramble and you could do some of like the fun stuff and all of that. Once upon a time, that would have been okay. But then it became not. And then that's kind of when like a Russell Wilson, his stock really plummeted. Because it was just like, you can't run the offense. You can't run the offense and you can't scramble like you used to be able to do. You're not as elusive as you once were. And you can't play quarterback at a high level right now. And then that's what it becomes like. And then it becomes like, you know what? You might be better with a quarterback who is nowhere near as gifted as you, but they can consistently and reliably just hit the open receiver. They can hit the layups very consistently. And it's why a Shane Steichen can be a play away from getting to the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. It's why Jimmy Garoppolo and Shanahan can get to a Super Bowl. It's why from the jump, Brock Purdy can get to an NFC Championship game his first year. It's how those things happen. It's why Jalen Hurts in week 1 wildly impressed me, more so than him doing some of the more magical scrambles, because it's just like, oh, you're consistently and reliably hitting the receiver at the right time, in the right moment, with a high degree of efficiency. I don't always need a scramble for 20 or a scramble where you throw the ball 30 yards down the field. You don't always need that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson moment. Those moments are amazing. And to have a quarterback like that is invaluable, right? It's just like, oh my goodness. Seeing Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen play, it's just like, you see that and you're just like, those quarterbacks are they're on another universe. And that's helpful and that's nice. It is. But at the same time, being able to reliably, it's more important to be able to run the offense than to be able to do the things that like a Lamar Jackson can do. Because if you can't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to win consistently at the highest level. So that's why even some of Caleb's scrambles and some of his nice playmaking abilities was awesome to see. And you can see that's why he's considered to be so special. But you're like, yeah, I need you to be able to do more. And if you're not getting the layups that Ben Johnson is beautifully scheming for you, it becomes a problem. But I want to be able to see him make those mistakes throughout this season and see how Ben Johnson and Caleb correct them. Now, here's the thing. This is why I also say that I don't know if Ben Johnson is the right coach for Caleb Williams, because I do not feel as though that Ben Johnson has any desire to change things in a way. Like Ben Johnson sees that play, like I forget the receivers who there were, but, it was pretty much like that first moment that Troy Aikman pointed it out, where he's like, it was a nice throw, but he really had so-and-so open for like 30, right? There's some coaches that are going to be more open to moments like that, because they're just going to be like, okay, that's great. We got the completion. We got the 5 yards, blah, blah. And they'll talk about it, they'll discuss it, but they're just a lot more like, it's just a lot more like it's all good. It's all good. And actually, we can even continue throughout the season having many moments like that. And in fact, now that I see that for whatever reason, you're missing these types of routes, these types of plays, I'm gonna, try to change things up a little bit. I'm gonna try to cut the field in half. I'm gonna do different things. I do not think that Ben Johnson is that type of coach. He's going to be like, this is open. This is the play. The ball has to go there 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And it really does become, if you can't do it, then I can't have you as my quarterback. That is who I think Ben Johnson is. That is who Sean Payton is. So that's the difference here. That's why Shane Steichen, to go back to Shane Steichen, is like, I can't win with AR. I can win with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones doesn't even have a fingernail's worth of athleticism as an AR. But AR can't run the offense. Daniel Jones can actually reliably hit these layups, hit the guys that I'm scheming open. That's all I need, man. That's all I need. It's great coaching. Coaching is king. Coaching is king. You are absolutely better off with an awesome coach and an average quarterback rather than an awesome quarterback and a bad coach. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So it's just interesting to see where this is going to continue to evolve and grow. And really just what the timeline is of all of this. Because I promise you, Ben Johnson has way more pull in that locker room. And I just mean specifically with the guys. They are going to stand behind Ben Johnson. After a game like this, they are thinking, man, Ben Johnson, he did great. Caleb Williams, not so much. And again, I'm not saying that Caleb Williams played bad. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams is a problem. I'm not saying any of that. But if you're just talking about the general feeling in the locker room of them feeling, man, we lost, we're annoyed, they're not necessarily looking at like, man, coach got to do a better job. They're thinking, man, if our quarterback did a better job, we win. That is absolutely undeniably what they're thinking. Whether it's fair or not, that is absolutely undeniably what they're thinking. And if that continues, that trend continues, that's when things start to really get weird and get weird fast. Because no player in that locker room owes anything to anyone, especially Caleb Williams. Especially Caleb Williams. But players know the importance of coaching. You see so many players around the league when they lose their coach, when their coordinator gets a new job, or when they have to go to a different, whatever it may be. You see they understand the importance of coaching better than anyone because they know what it's like to be put in positions to succeed. And there were players now, there were receivers on that team that were like, Ben Johnson had me. I'm like, oh my God, he parted the seas for me, and my quarterback's not hitting me. Like, it starts to get frustrating. And the defense is watching on the sideline, and they're just like, yo, Mike was, what is he? Mike was right there. How do you miss that? Oh, man, now we got to get back out there. Oh, gosh, can't believe the score's 7-3 right now, man. It should be 21-3. It just starts to unravel. So the pressure's on. The pressure is absolutely positively on. And make no mistake about it, it is on Caleb Williams, not Ben Johnson. Just the way it goes. Just the way it goes. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams? Do you think Ben is the right coach for Caleb Williams? And where do you think the pressure lies? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so they agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.